What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today I'm going to be doing a mock on Broshmo's final preseason mock. So, if you guys do not already know, I'm going to be coming out with one myself, but as we all know, Broshmo is a good friend of the channel, contributor, and you know what? I love talking to him about his type of mock drafts, and I've already done so. So, we're going to go through and give you guys my thoughts on his mock draft. Very smart man, somebody you have a lot of respect for. Let's get right into it. Ain't no need to have some BS intro. If you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe, know what to do. So, number one overall, Spencer Rattler. We're not going to talk about it, all right? And that's just because he's now my lock quarterback one. And if you guys look back, my opinion's changed. It used to be Sam Howell's number one, but I projected that he would be able to adjust to losing his four weapons. So I was saying like him being able to overcome losing his entire offense would be proof that he could adjust to the NFL. So Spencer Rattler, true quarterback one. I just love his arm talent. I really do. He has a unique arm, and that is what is the seller for me going to the Texans. Number two, we got Sam Howell. Obviously, this was made before the VT game, and I am as shocked as anybody else. Obviously, Sam did not get helped out by his offensive line. He does have a rising star. I'm forgetting the name of, I think I'm bugging on his name. Starts with a D if I'm not mistaken. Number 11 is wide receiver. That kid looks special. He look like there's just flashes of just spectacular play. So watch out for that. But obviously at number two, the Lions, it's like I honestly would be continuing to develop the team because the team itself is not ready. I just don't really. I think Jared Goff is the perfect guy just to have there and just kind of use up. That sounds terrible, but it's. I think that there's just better ways to go about it because I think they will be at the top of the draft again. And I think this is Broshmo's own draft order. That's why he used the PFF draft simulator. Next, you got Derek Stingley, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. He's a really damn good player, really damn good fit. Personally, I think that maybe going a different route would be a little bit better because I think Broshmo used this definition or this phrase in his videos. He was saying that rookie corners don't make usually a huge impact. And the Eagles don't need a huge impact immediately. So it's kind of, I guess I'm like countering myself right there. But I think that if the Eagles want the most value, wins above replacement, it might not be getting a second corner. It might be going after an offensive lineman. Love Jordan Mailata, but Evan Neal is Evan Neal. You could look at I mean, I'm pretty sure Derek Stingley is the second guy on his board. Evan Neal mine. So he said if he had his board the same way, he'd probably go after Evan. You look at KT, DeMarvin Leal, guys who will make a big impact on those fronts. Because I mean, again, you don't want to get like the third best edge player in like the top 10, right? That's something that's stupid. You're not getting the right value for your pick, even if it's a good wins above replacement. But I mean, you have the chance of getting generational talent. Brandon Graham getting older. Fletcher Cox obviously getting older. Milton Williams, I have no idea where the hell he's going to play because he's super light. But that dude is unbelievable. I love him. You guys can go back. I'll stand by Milton Williams to the day I die. That guy's awesome. But speaking of DeMarvin Leal, who is Broshmo's edge one. So to me, KT, DeMarvin Leal, it's going to be taking the more speed rusher role, if I'm not mistaken, apart from Lawson, across from him. That's fine. I think that DeMarvin Leal is certainly a talented player. Again, being nitpicky, I think KT is more generational than DeMarvin. DeMarvin looks a little bit out of position. Maybe if you wanted to use him as a big 4-3 edge, yeah, sure. He could be a 4-3 end. But it's just I love the potential of KT, and it's a pain to try to explain why not to go to DeMarvin Leal because DeMarvin Leal is really damn good. He plays a lot faster and a lot lighter than he is, and that's not a knock to his power. I'm saying he moves 30 pounds lighter than he is, which is awesome. It's absolutely great. So props to Marvin Leal for being an excellent athlete, and he does have a good toolkit. I just think KT can take over a game entirely. Of course, Broshmo got a sponsor right there. We do actually have a sponsor as well. Don't feature them too often, which I should. YIKO Water. We're not going to do a whole spiel on it. You guys can go back to the videos and look at them. Look at them yourself. They're obviously A, it's a sexy ass presentation, but B, really good water, natural from Hawaii. So check it out if you want to. Next, we got Evan Neal. I love it. I just don't think Evan Neal should be there. Another team right there where I think Evan Neal should have went to. The right side of the line is pretty garbage for the Jets. So definitely could be, well, garbage for the future. I'm pretty sure that they might have brought in somebody like Morgan Moses to be right tackle. But for the future, I think Evan Neal would have been the right choice there. But still, excellent pick. I love Evan Neal so much because, again, I saw his progression, and that is what makes the difference. It's not, can you play now? Is, will you be my franchise tackle? So, like, if Andrew Thomas ends up ascending better than Tristan Wirfs, then that pick will be worth it. Tristan Wirfs came in and just was balling out. Okay, Tristan Wirfs is unbelievable. But if Andrew Thomas can develop, which I don't think he will, but the idea is in the long run, if you're worth it, you're worth it. It's always like hindsight's always 2020, right? So if Evan Neal takes a little bit of time on the Bengals, A, he's probably gonna be better than what they have already. But B, it's gonna benefit you in the long run. And that's all that really matters because you want someone to be there for 15, 20 years, not the first 5. Next, we got KT. I just, I mean, my only pushback is I don't really know where you're going to be putting him. I know Josh Allen is in his last year of his contract, but you do have I mean, the top of this board is stacked defensively speaking. Like you got Stingley, Leal, and KT as well as Kyle Hamilton. And I will concede that Kyle Hamilton deserves to be picked before Brandon Joseph. And Brandon Joseph, he put on like 20 pounds. I don't know if he looks as athletic as he did last year. So I'm going to have to reevaluate him over the rest of this year. Regardless, Brandon Joseph, beast. But KT, it's just, he's a potential generational talent who can take over a game. A team like Jacksonville needs to start winning in the trenches. And if they can't get Evan Neal, that's probably where they should go. Kayvon Chason should definitely not be a reason to not get a guy like KT. And again, Josh Allen in the final year of his contract. And I don't know if he wants to return. So, number 7, Malik Willis. Yeah, I pushed back on this one pretty hard. I just don't really think Malik Willis is a worth the number 7 pick. But also, it's like the Raiders have so many more things to improve upon, right? They have their defensive front is pretty solid, right? I don't think they're going to be reaching for another edge here. They could go after a linebacker, but linebacker's not really worth it. Corner, there's definitely some talented corners that you can go after. Maybe not worth number 7 pick, but that's okay. You could look after a guy because I don't think Jonathan Abrams is going to be a really great player. You can look at a guy like Kyle Hamilton, who is big, he is strong, he is fast, and he is intuitive. It's a guy that the Raiders could definitely use, and worst case scenario, he's going to be a huge slot until they have the right role for him, right? He'd have a big impact day one. I think that maybe even going offensive line, you got Tyler Linderbaum that could be here. You could even look at Jackson Kirkland. So there are, I don't think Jackson Kirkland, you don't need to go tackle because you just got Leatherwood, even though don't really think Leatherwood's that great. Regardless, there are different ways that I would go wide receiver, another route right there. I just don't really think quarterback is the right spot because I think Derek Carr is the only thing that keeps him afloat. Like I don't really know what else to say there, but yeah. Next is Tyler Linderbaum, possibly a little too rich for the spot, but hey, I love Tyler Linderbaum. He is my number 1 interior offensive lineman in the class, and that is factoring in Kenyon Green as both a guard and a tackle, as well as Jackson Kirkland as a guard and a tackle. So going to the next spot, we got Kyle Hamilton, which is of course an amazing pick. I just don't want to not give guys like Jamar Johnson like not to have a chance, but you go best player available for your team. Again, at this spot at 9, it's hard to go after quarterback 4. And again, this is not going to be this last year's class. I'd be excited if it was in terms of quarterback depth, or in quarterback like strength at the top. But this is more of a class built on depth than anything else. So let's go to the next pick. Brandon Joseph. I love it. again, it's hard for me to agree that Brandon Joseph's going to be this pick here because he did put on like another 20 pounds and he doesn't look as athletic anymore because he was a rangy, athletic joystick of a man right there. When I watched him, like last night, he didn't seem as explosive, and maybe it's him just trying to come into his own. And again, he hasn't played in a little while, but just I want to watch him a bit more before I re-solidify my position that he is better than Kyle Hamilton. I do like the fact that he's drafted near him, and if Brandon Joseph can continue being the joystick and being the ball hawk that he is, which they didn't throw at him at all, so didn't really get to see that. He definitely is worth being this pick as the single high deep safety with allowing Jeremy Chin to actually play the role that he should, which is what he played last year. Next, we got Andrew Booth here. Andrew Booth is a very talented corner. The Falcons love their their corners from Clemson. So obviously, Pease is now the defensive coordinator, not who they had before. Regardless, I think that corner is definitely a position that they should look at. And Booth is the most athletic. Don't know if that's really the right move, given the fact that I'm thinking about the wide receivers in the division, and I'm not seeing anybody in like Tyreek Hill territory. Like Andrew Booth, I think, is my number 2 corner because of that athleticism and how smooth he is. He has technical faults, he has mechanical faults, but that can be overcome with coaching. Like his athleticism is very rare for the position. He's very bursty, and I think that could allow him to be a very good fit here. However, I think I'd go for more of the bigger corners right there. So let's go to the next pick. We got the Cardinals going Chris Olave. We already know, he already knows my opinion on this. Chris Olave, this is where we were talking about corner. It's like corners don't make a very big year 1 impact, right? Chris Olave is certainly, I like the idea. And given the free agency class that's coming up, because I decided to check on it instead of just be like, oh, that's not a good pick, right? The free agency class is insane. If you guys are trying to question why he's not taking a corner, which again, I would probably take a corner. But if you look at the corner class, which you guys should, sporttrack.com has all the corners. You can just look up NFL salaries and look at the current contracts and then see all the corners there coming up in 2022. There are a lot of them. Yes, most of them will probably be re-signed, but there will be plenty of veterans that can come in and patch up the cards right now. Regardless, I would love to have gotten Kaiir Elam here. Chris Olave is an excellent wide receiver, very good deep threat. I like Garrett Wilson more. Call me out for it. He also, I'm sorry, Broshmo, that was an absolute terrible stop for me. Frame wise for me, but like we both have Garrett Wilson as our number 1 wide receiver. He wants Chris Olave to be more of a deep threat. That's perfectly fine. I just think that the Cardinals kind of like thrive a little bit more off of the after the catch. That's why you get Rondale Moore in there. And I think that would work with Garrett Wilson as well. If you want a replacement for Christian Kirk, Garrett Wilson's like an upgrade Christian Kirk and everything. So I just absolutely love Garrett Wilson. That's just my deal. Next, we got Carson Strong. I just cannot give you guys my honest opinion right there. I can't yet because I've seen one pretty piss poor game against, I believe it was Fresno State, and then one solid game against San Jose State, who actually that was a good team. So there's flashes from Carson. Definitely want to take a bigger look at him, but I do like the idea of going in a different direction than what you have with Daniel Jones. If you're at 13, well, you're at number 8, so I'm perfectly fine with it. Garrett Wilson, absolutely love this pick. Big fan of that pick. I'm not even going to talk about it. That's a perfect pick. They need a wide receiver desperately, and Garrett Wilson, perfect. Next is Kaiir Elam. Big fan of that to the Steelers. We desperately need the help. I think we just traded a 5th for like a Keller Witherspoon, if I'm not mistaken. So the Steelers are showing that we are desperate for corner help, and Kaiir Elam is perfect for what we're looking for. Excellent corner right there. Kenyon Green to the Chargers. Now, this is Broshmo and I were talking about this. This is where I kind of got him right here. I would 100% go Jackson Kirkland. And this is why. He's been playing tackle and shown that he has the skills to actually play tackle. Broshmo brought up, well, what about left? He's playing left tackle. And because he was saying Kenyon Green could probably be Bulaga's replacement, but Kenyon Green's also playing left tackle, right? So we know that Jackson Kirkland is extremely athletic. He is also skilled at guard as well as proven at tackle versus Kenyon Green, who's proven at guard and is going to try to prove at tackle here. Kenyon Green's certainly not a bad pick at all. I just think that there is a better player for him, and that's Jackson Kirkland, who's also very mobile. So that's me. I like Jackson Kirkland's ability as a hybrid lineman. So next we got Jackson Kirkland. So there you go. Because he was saying that the left tackle spot's probably not going to be filled for too much longer. You know, you lost. I'm bugging on the guy's name. I know Cornelius Lucas, but Charles Leno. No, yeah, Charles Leno is the guy who's there. So he probably won't be there for more than a year. That's going to give a big hole for Jackson Kirkland to fill. Sam Cosme going to be playing right tackle there. So I don't really mind it. I don't. But it's a tough one. It's really tough because at that spot, I don't know. I'd be looking for a quarterback. Next, got Keaton Slovis. I think this is a little rich for Keaton. It's just you need to see more than one quarter of good play a game. That's it. If you get to see that, sure. There's nothing wrong with the pick. It's just I think that there are more right picked. And the Eagles here are taking a shot on somebody where this is the perfect zone. Like 15 and on, perfect zone to take a shot on a quarterback that could end up busting out. Cheaper contract, as well as less to have been leveraging there. And you already got a star defensive back. So I think it's going to be perfectly fine if you go after Keaton Slovis there. Kingsley, I'm just not as high on him, and this was what Broshmo would do, not like a realistic, I assume, and that's fine because I think that Zimmer likes to go after his mid-round edges that have a shit ton of length, and that's a lesson I learned from you guys. So continue commenting and teaching me about your team's draft philosophies because that helps me produce better content for you. Next, Adam Anderson. I liked it. I thought it was like a little bit weird because they are more of like a 4-3, but he did bring out how Alden Smith, Randy Gregory are doing more of a stand-up style. Adam Anderson would be a perfect fit for that as well. I am absolutely a huge fanboy of Adam Anderson. I have him as my number 13 guy in the draft. Next, Drake London, a bit rich for my taste, and that's fine because the Eagles desperately need the help. It is kind of cute to have Keaton Slovis with Drake London again. That's all I gotta say. You know, it's cool. He's gonna be the replacement. He's gonna be the final nail in the coffin for JJ Arcega. It's Arcega Whiteside. Next, Ahmad Gardner. I absolutely hate it because it's an amazing pick. I can't stand the Patriots continue to have good corner depth. Also, I probably would have taken Ahmad Gardner right there. It's just I already know it's gonna be a hit. Next, you got Treylon Burks. Big fan of this pick. Obviously, he is a big slot, though, and Amon-Ra St. Brown is also a slot. That's something that I'd be a little bit concerned about, but I think that they can make it work. It's not like that would get much worse. And then Majai, I just don't really like Majai that much. I don't think that he has that great of a first step. I don't think he has that great of burst. It's a good idea. I think that given the edges already taken off the board, if you don't want to go after a speed rusher here, I would go after a linebacker like Christian Harris, who has a lot of potential. Speaking of the man, Christian Harris right here. I like it. Don't know why they got rid of Benardrick McKinney. It just doesn't really make sense to me, but I don't think it made sense to anybody. Nick Bonito here, perfect replacement if you want to get rid of Harold Landry, somebody who has a lot of potential, very high PFF grade, which shows extreme consistency as well. And of course, it did not switch to Akeem Ekwonu. I like it. I think that he'd be an excellent guard. I don't know how much longer Zeitler has on his contract. I thought that it was going to be a 3-year contract. I thought that's what they signed him for. But, you know, the other guard spot might be something that he could take. The right tackle spot. Was it right tackle spot? Yeah, because the tackle spot that Ronnie Stanley's not at, where Alejandro Villanueva is, maybe. I just don't think Akeem sucks in the pass game. And that's why I think he should be a pure guard. Excellent run blocker, though. So I think that he would work if you want to keep him on the interior. Just keep an eye out. If they want to put him at tackle, he needs a lot of work in that pass game. And if they want to shake off the idea that Lamar is just like a running back, They're gonna need to do that. They're gonna need to pass. Then Trent McDuffie, I love the fit, even though he's not in my top 32. I love the fit. Definitely where Robert Saleh can make a corner like Trent McDuffie work. I'm a big fan of that because they do desperately need a corner after losing Austin Blythe. Next, you got Jordan Battle, somebody who I thought should have went earlier. I think he should have went a bit earlier than this. He could have even went to the Eagles, another guy to the Eagles, where I think DB was probably the best move there instead of going after wide receiver. Jordan Battle's a beast. He's a very good all-around safety. That's why I'm a big fan of him. That's why I have 4 first-round safeties. Mike Jones Jr. next, perfect replacement for what's his name? David. Levante David. I was like, no, his name's not David Montgomery. Levante David. Perfect replacement. And he needs to work on his tackling. And it'll be perfect for him to be underneath Devin White, underneath Levante David, to have time to be able to develop that. Big fan of the potential there with Mike Jones Jr. And next, you got Zach Harrison. It makes sense. After Broshmo and I talked about it, he talked about they do kind of like those bigger dudes on the edge, because I'm like, Zach Harrison's kind of overweight, but he has a lot of potential, man. He shows that toolkit sometimes, and it's like, dude, if you get a little more consistent with using it, you're gonna go places. So don't hate the pick, don't love it, but I can see the reason why. And lastly, George Pickens coming off ACL surgery. Might not even play this year. I'm not 100% sure. It's a hard sell for me. It's a really hard sell for me. There are other wide receivers out there. And I also don't think that wide receiver 5 is the best place to start. He was talking about how Devontae Adams is going to be leaving, so that's why they're going to be more desperate. Don't think that means you go for one in the draft. I think that means that you want to patch it up in free agency. You want to build for the future in the draft, or else if your team's fully built, then you can patch it up. George Pickens is not somebody who I would be targeting. I feel like he would be probably giving Devin Funchess type of value over his first contract, especially since he's probably going to be trying to come back into his own body after tearing his ACL. He already has some big flaws, and he doesn't have another year to improve upon them. That's why I'm going to say let's hold off on 32. Maybe we could go a different route here. Offensive line, still, there's some really good ones out there. You could also look probably, the receiving room's definitely something you should try to improve upon. Linebacker, you already took the top 2, but there are other guys out there. I'm thinking maybe you could go another corner because Kevin King is going to be gone. Not like Kevin King even matters. I know Eric Stokes is there, but you need more than 2 corners as well. So there's just other ways to go. But still, really solid draft overall compared to a lot of these analysts. Obviously, Broshmo and I think very similarly when we scout prospects. We do have guys that we like more than others, but still, that's my take. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you guys thought about this. I'll see you on the far side. Peace.